welcome to the next episode of the superfreakmedia podcast, No Ghouls Allowed. We're on episode 5, which seems crazy. It seems like we only started yesterday. Today we are going to be talking about monster movies. Liam and Charlie have been to see Godzilla, so they're going to be talking about that. But first of all...
There's no Richard again.
I'm going to say that.
This month.
I'm going to say that, Liam. I'm getting there, mate. Jesus Christ.
I feel like he's been here for... We're getting close to him being here and not being here an equal amount.
Words.
He
came... He was here for the first two, which were on the same day.
Yeah.
And then he was here for the third one.
Yeah.
And then he's not been here since.
Yeah.
Because he's a melt.
Or...
Basically.
We've killed him.
Or we've killed him.
Or...
Nothing. Brilliant. Dead air.
He's conspiracy theory.
Or he's just working.
Or he's here and he's just very quiet.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking Godzilla and monster movies in general, the good and the bad.
Oh God.
I've got some bad ones.
Oh, I've got so many bad
to chat about, which is excellent. We're going to briefly discuss other things that we've seen. So I think we should kick it off with that.
Yeah, it usually takes quite a bit of time to get through this,
Let's
doesn't it?
condense this.
So we're going to condense it down into a nice, neatly formed package. Liam, have you seen anything good?
Yeah, film-wise, I think recently me and Charlie went to go see Brightburn at the cinema. It was on an unlimited screening, so it was just a little before I think it actually came out. But I'm seeing friends going to see it now.
I don't think it's on anymore, to be fair.
I think it was very limited, but fantastic actually. The premise is basically, I think I saw our friend Edward posted this on Facebook and it was brilliant. If Superman was growing up, was a bit of a kind of what happens. Yeah, it's a lot gorier than I think we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And considering the budget, I think it was like something like 30-something thousand.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot.
And it looks incredible.
I mean,
like for what they've done.
It shows itself up in the special effects, I think.
Yeah.
Some of the special effects are a little bit hooky
but the
in
premise
places,
is crazy
but like
cool.
the story itself and the acting's amazing.
Stellar.
Like the kid, I don't even know the kid's name, but he's really good. And Elizabeth Banks. She's really, really, really good.
James Gunn behind it as well. I think that's part of the reason it got made. To be honest.
Does it have this the DC license behind it?
No,
they
so
never
it's very
really
much
reference
not.
him as being Superman, do they?
No,
he
just has a cape, which is kind of his
use,
bedsheet, which is red.
Yeah, they use the red and the blue, but they don't.
And he's come from another world, and
Okay.
basically, the meteor that he's kind of in crashes into a farmhouse, in the woods, and this couple can't have a baby,
and they work on a farm.
He conveniently comes along, and then they raise him as their own, and then kind of as he's hitting puberty and going through stuff at school, he then discovers these powers, but he discovers very fast that he can't be harmed, and I think that's what ultimately then means he thinks he's invincible.
He gets a bit of a god complex.
Yeah,
stuff.
But just some of the things he says and the things he does.
Some of the deaths in it are just.
I'd very much say it's a horror movie. Like, I don't really like superhero movies, but loved that.
So this is one to catch on DVD because we reckon it's
I think
not
it's
out now. Yeah,
off of cinema now.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
Which sucks.
I think by the time this comes out as well, it won't be in anymore. But
so
it was very, very good though. Very
Sweet.
good.
Have we seen anything else?
I think Years and Years wrapped up on TV. The series I spoke about. Definitely check that out. Like, the finale was just everything. It was incredible. Black Mirror as well dropped this month on Netflix.
Watched that either.
So I binged the 3 episodes of that in a day. Absolutely love those. Really, really happy. I just wanted more, to be honest, but I suppose Bandersnatch that they did earlier would have taken a lot of time to do.
Yeah,
so I
like
kind of understand why. Yeah,
a bit of an epic kind of undertaking, wasn't it?
Yeah. Which
I've still not seen Bandersnatch. I'm so behind because I kind of got on the Luther hype and then got on the Game of Thrones hype. So other than that, I've kind of not watched any other. I've got
Bandersnatch.
So much
I think you need to
give up
locate some time to it because there's so many possibilities to explore. But I still think that was a really cool concept. It was this latest series of Black Mirror though has been really, really cool.
Yeah, the only new thing that's come out for me was the new series of Killing Eve.
Oh yes, seen that as well.
Yeah, have you watched all of them? Because I've only watched 2.
Charlie's not watched any of it yet.
At all.
As in, not watched series 1?
As in, absolutely nothing.
See, I've watched both seasons.
Charlie has taken the place of Richard Parker this week.
Yeah,
I'm an honorary Richard. It's only because of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, since the last podcast, I've had completely ruined for me. I know who ends up on the throne, and I know 2 people that die now.
I
Not
think
just
that's
the
the
one.
danger, though,
I know
of
an extra
watching
one as well.
stuff after the fact, though, because it's like I've never watched Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad, but I know pretty much what happens in both of them.
I think what's annoyed me, and I think it's because I suddenly care about it.
Yeah.
Spoilers mean something to me now, whereas if I'd have heard a spoiler before, I didn't give a shit about it, so it didn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
So I've probably had everything spoiled for me, but just forgotten about it because at the time of it being on, I didn't really care. But now
the character names didn't mean anything to you, but now it's like, oh great, well.
Yeah, so I know who ends up on the throne, and I know 2 big deaths. So I think my favourite characters are in for a bad time in the last series.
But
I know one of them is definitely in for a bad time.
Because we're nice people, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
We won't spoil anything.
I'm not going to spoil it for
Killing
anybody
Eve, though,
else.
you're 2 episodes into series 2.
And it is just as good as series 1.
Yes. I actually think, having seen the whole series, it's probably even better.
Yeah.
I think just because you now really know what the dynamic is between those 2 characters, they have so much fun. But episode 2, I think there's kind of a bit of a creepy...
There is. Creepy
character,
kind of...
or something going
obsessive guy with lots of dolls.
Lots of dolls. Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely amazing, yeah.
Which is glorious.
It's fantastic television. Like, I already want another series. I think that's the issue when they release things all at once, because they put the box set on BBC iPlayer.
Yeah.
So, I've actually been unwell this last week or so I've just been able to binge everything.
Whereas we've
not the
decided, I
greatest.
think, with Killing Eve to sort of eke it out. We're not watching it as it comes out on BBC One, but we're watching it
every other day
in between other things. So
Yeah.
we've got other things on the go. So we'll watch a couple of episodes and then go, we'll put a Killing Eve on.
Yeah.
But just to eke
so
it out.
I'm going to have to do that with Orange is the New Black, because that's set to drop very, very soon, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know it's the last series, so I'm going to have to
There's a lot of
not do what I
things
usually
online.
do, which is binge it all in a day.
Yeah.
'Cause-
One point I do want to make as well. We watched Designated Survivor, which comes out on Netflix.
Yes.
And it's not horror at all, nothing to do
No.
with that. But it's just interesting because it was on network TV before, so it was I can't remember what network it was on, but it was one of the channels where swearing wasn't really a thing. You can't do it
Okay.
in America. But Netflix picked it up for season 3,
Fully uncensored.
and all of a sudden a program that could potentially be watched by young teenagers,
Yeah.
like 11, 12-year-olds maybe, it's like a political thriller, but
Yeah.
with some elements of espionage and stuff. Really
Yeah.
cool. Suddenly became totally not, kind of applicable to that age group, and there was nothing that sort of said that it wasn't. So all of a sudden, the characters are effing and C-bombing, and you're thinking, oh,
That's really interesting though, because surely
That's changed.
the channel that it was first broadcast on, did they not have any involvement when it was made? So would they not kind of censor that? Why was it filmed then?
they cancelled it.
Oh.
It got cancelled, and Netflix picked it up.
so
so now the
Netflix
new
have
stuff
made
they're making.
New stuff they're making.
That seems so odd, because
That's the
you're
thing.
surely just changing the whole.
It took a whole tonal shift from
Yeah.
being actually, there was lots of hard hitting moments in it, but nothing that was explicit. And then all of a sudden, it's just gone, we can do whatever we want, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I like it. Because if it was done from the start, fair dues.
Yeah.
But just to change like that, it's that's a shame.
Yeah.
And the characters that haven't done it in the past, new characters coming in, you could think, oh, well, that's a new character. But
that's
characters in the
okay.
past, who now are suddenly almost totally different and more nasty, you're thinking, oh. Well,
I think, profanity can alter your whole kind of perception of someone, can't it? So
that's it. When you think these are intelligent characters,
Yeah.
and before they would put each other down in ways
that was a
didn't
little
need
bit
the
more,
swearing.
intelligent.
Now all
than
of a sudden they've just
effing.
gone bam, C-bomb. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool, nice. Anyway, watch 10 episodes in a week, but
Yeah, cool.
great show,
Nailed
great
it.
show. What have we been up to though? I know that this is actually something this month that we can talk about.
Yeah.
We've been up to a lot collectively as a team.
We've
a lot.
been making movies.
Making so many movies.
Because somebody decided to write 3 films to shoot in a month.
Well, I didn't write them with the intention of it all happening in the space of 4 weeks, but so we've shot 2 projects so far. Well, we've started. The first one that we shot was at the start of June, called Inertia, which was a sci-fi short that actually starred you, Jono.
Hello.
So you were the other side of the camera on that one, which was I think quite interesting.
We had Theo on
Theo
DOP duties.
on the DOP duties there. So yeah, we've shot kind of the first section of that. We've still got a long way to go because it's something a bit different for us.
Fight choreography in it, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's a bit more action.
I think
sci-fi.
it took a lot more time than we anticipated it to.
Yeah,
But we want to get it right, so there's no point in rushing it.
I think that was it. Is kind of knowing. I suppose you'll appreciate it from your point of view as well.
And we almost killed you.
Felt good not to rush.
Felt really good not to rush because you need that time to actually think, well, if I do this and then they do this, how is that going to affect A, what we do next, but B, how the camera is going to see it. So you don't just need to block it for the action's sake, you need to block it for what looks good on camera. So you need to... It basically took a long ass time. But
the stuff with you and Chris doing the fight, like Chris Milross, who is another actor that we've worked with on this one, he's the stuff with you two fighting is epic, and like Theo nailed it with the camera. Like the camera work is just sick.
Camera stuff, yeah. I mean, it was. I think what I really enjoyed about it, from a directing standpoint, was obviously getting to work with you. I've never really worked with you in front of the camera before, so working with new people is always exciting for me. But then also I got to work with Theo behind the camera shooting the thing, so that was different as well, because I think immediately, me and you have kind of a bit of a shorthand, and you kind of know what I want to go for, and I kind of know what's comfortable for you. I wanted this to look and feel completely different to other stuff that we've shot before, and I think it very much does, because we've got everything feels fresh and new about it, so that was really exciting. I think we just need to obviously get the rest of it scheduled, and then that should be up and online fairly soon. But a lot of visual effects to go in there as well.
And it was the first time you'd worked with all three of the actors.
Well, yeah, Olivia,
well,
Chris, and yourself. Great group of actors. I'm very lucky to get to work with the people that I do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was awesome. That was a great way to start the month.
And then we've done Do You See It Too?
Do You See It Too? We actually shot last weekend, which would have been the 15th.
Yeah, it was
of this month.
Yeah. Yesterday,
and
last week.
Here.
And we actually shot in Jono's house. So you've intrinsically been involved in everything so far.
And you were back on DOP duties for that.
Yeah. So we took over your house,
which you were thrilled about.
Loved it.
And your bedroom. But yeah, that's really, really cool. I mean, reviewing the footage of that, there's some great moments in there. I think has the potential to be one of the scariest things we've made, which is nice. So I'm excited to see how that comes together.
The acting on that was
so
good.
Worked with Chloe, who we had worked with before in The Final Girl. She had a brief kind of stint in that, so that was nice to work with her in a much more serious and kind of more thought out role, I guess. There was a lot more to it on this one. And then Jay Podmore as well. He came from Liverpool. He'll love that.
Amazing.
I'm so sorry.
To come and be part of the fun with us. So that was cool. Again, it was cool just to work with different people. And then we also had Jack playing someone we won't name, but he's in there.
He's in it. He was previously one of our ghosts in Best Friends Forever, wasn't he?
Jack's made a few cameos as demons and ghosts. As of you, Jono.
He was Ghost in Best Friends Forever.
Yeah.
And he was also
the
weird
thing in Alone.
Yeah. Which
he was, wasn't he? I'd completely forgotten about that.
Even though that shot appears for literally half a second.
Millisecond. Just
so brilliant to shoot.
I mean, you just can't let on the fact it's a mask.
Yeah.
It's just
it's Jack's actual face.
Yeah, it's just
that's
Jack's
what he
face.
looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, amazing time though. Like it was a long day, but I think we've got some really cool stuff.
And it was very hot because horror being horror.
Oh, tinfoil all the windows
and
day for night.
Yeah, warm inside.
Yeah, just
cooked us.
How many people did we have in your bedroom? Like 6?
Yeah, so there was the two.
No more than usual. Yeah,
pretty standard. Pretty light on the people.
Yeah, actually less than usual, really.
But the thing is, even it's odd, isn't it? When we look back at the films we've shot, we sort of know where they've been shot, and we think, oh, that's the same staircase from such and such.
Yeah.
I don't know whether the viewers pick up on it as much.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd be interested to see how many of our viewers actually know that Mr. Creek, Sandman...
Best Friends Forever.
No, hang on.
Grindhouse,
How many are shot in the same room? Is it just Mr. Creek and Sandman?
I think so, yeah.
Mr. Creek and Sandman are in the exact same room in my house.
Yeah.
Exact same bedroom, yeah.
So it was nice to shoot somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, the whole feel, like the light that you get coming in, geometry, space, everything, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think a lot of Super Freak stuff is shot at your house.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably say the first 5 years of Super Freak Media are just solid in my house. Like, we just, in my house or in the woods. And then moved on to filming things at your house. So then we took over your house. And I think we've pretty much shot every square inch of your house now, because we've definitely seen the hallway, dining room, kitchen, living room, stairwell,
I think it's
bedrooms.
literally like my mum's craft room and my office.
Yeah, there's not much...
we haven't shot in.
Much left.
Yeah.
I think
between the houses...
now, Jono. Like,
we've pretty much been everywhere, haven't we? We've been in Richard's shed.
Richard's
house, we shot in the
Richard's shed. Even in Richard's house, actually, because when she runs into the confession booth, that's
we did. That's the hallway.
And into his like bedroom thing.
I don't
study.
Even know. No, she ran into the toilet.
It was the spare bedroom, wasn't it?
Yeah, from Danny's bedroom.
Yeah.
And then
I could just remember they had weird doors, and I was like, do you know what? That's a confession booth. So just get some mist in it.
Who has double weird doors in a single door?
I don't know, but it helped.
Yep.
So
bizarre.
I'm not going to pass up that miracle.
Totally matched.
And next weekend we're shooting something else, aren't we?
Yeah, wrapping up the month with the final short of this month. I say this month because then there's just more. Blood Money we're shooting back at my house then, in my bathroom, and that's going to be starring the wonderful Jessica Messenger, and should be good fun. We've got some other familiar faces I think going to be making an appearance as well, but maybe not as you recognise them. So
I've heard a certain Matt Barker might be involved.
Matt Barker might be involved and might also not be playing
Matt Barker,
a male.
Does he know yet?
I've tried to break the news to him. The last message I sent to him, I just asked him if he still had a full beard, because obviously that might create some issues. But so I think I've mentioned this before. My eBay history is a little bit strange because of some of the things I have to buy for films. This week I did take it to a whole new level, because I kind of thought women have certain assets. What if we were able to kind of give Matt certain assets?
Matt Barker a bra from eBay, is that what you've been doing?
More something to go in the bra.
Oh,
chicken fillets.
So I'm aware of this because my grandma, when I was younger, she had a mastectomy because unfortunately she suffered from breast cancer. So I know that they had these like fake boob things that you could stick on. So I was aware of these. So I may have eBayed and bought some fake
breasticles,
boobs.
Cool.
So we're going to see how they go. Might not work.
Thing is, he'll love it.
So either this thing that he's playing is going to have some assets or not.
Great. Because every time I speak to him about it, I'm like, oh, you're shooting with Liam at the end of the month, aren't you? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm not sure yet. Not sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
I thought the best thing to do would just let him know like a day before.
No, we'll let him know via the podcast.
Via the podcast. So yeah, Matt, if you're listening, hate to break it to you, with a few days to go to the shoot, you're going to have some breasts, mate.
Well, I'd say first time for everything, but it isn't.
Isn't the first time, yeah, no. We know it isn't. He'll be comfy, he'll be fine.
He'll be great.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into the meat of the episode. Oh, my favourite. But first...
Say it again, but slowly.
Oh, no.
Meat. But first, there is something stirring in the corner.
There's this goddamn corner just
Richard?
Needs to stop stirring.
It's not Richard. But it is in fact Nicolas Cage.
Oh, he's here with us.
He's here with us.
Before you do bust in with the Cage corner thing, can I just, when Inertia comes out, you Nicolas Cage the shit out of him. It is so good.
Were you happy about that, by the way? Because I may have kind of written that moment for you.
Oh, loved it.
Just to, I mean, I didn't know whether to go Point Break with it or just Nicolas Cage.
So not to give away too many spoilers, but Jono gets to...
description of the scene.
Not to give away spoilers, but there is a moment where Jono gets to fully live his Nicolas Cage fantasy.
Yeah.
Cover myself in paint and scream.
Actually watched that scene. I don't know if you showed us that scene.
You sent it to us.
Yes, you sent it. Yeah.
From Zanderley.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful.
Sorry, please continue with Cage Corner.
Cage Corner this week.
Oh, it's stirring.
This month for Cage Corner.
This month.
So, Nicolas Cage is in Kick-Ass.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Nicolas Cage plays Big Daddy in Kick-Ass.
Yes.
Now.
Yeah, he does.
And boy, does he play him. But it turns out that after the read-throughs and the first day kind of on set, shooting as Big Daddy, Nicolas Cage turned up, cameras rolled, and he went into Adam West as Batman.
Yeah.
At which point, the director just goes, "Whoa!
Nope.
Nick's lost it. What has gone on?" And apparently there was like a bit of a back and forth until the director realised, oh man, he's doing Adam West. This is genius.
Yeah.
But to kind of rock up on set and not tell anybody that's what you're going to do.
Just completely go with the instinct. Yeah.
Just go with the instinct of going, you know what, I'm going to be Adam West. I'm going to just be fully kind of stilted and, this. That was more Shatner.
Mayor West.
But
Mayor West.
To kind of have the balls to do that.
I mean, I don't think it was ever questioned though that if he had balls, like he's. I think what you should always expect is the bold choice is the choice he's going to take.
He makes some seriously good choices.
I would like to know, like, if a director ever challenges him, like how they do it, because how would you challenge
the reason we don't know is
he...
because these directors just don't work again. Because Nicolas Cage just sees to it, doesn't he?
I think that's it.
He's like, I'm going to play it this way. Or you're never working again.
The thing is, you would think...
They just disappear, these actors.
Looking at his kind of past CV, you
Yeah.
would think, oh, maybe this is something that's come on like later on as he's got more established. Maybe he's like gone, you know what, I can let it all out now. But actually, when you look back earlier on, no, mental.
I don't think he's ever had
always
the lid on.
Done that.
Yeah.
And he says it's that he draws most of his inspiration from German expressionism. He's like, that's what acting is to him. You know, so he's
that's
like...
bollocks though, isn't it?
But that is serious. It is.
That's pure
Big
and
Billy
utter
Bollocks Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that must be like a way for him just to get a lot of shit out there.
Oh yeah.
The bollocks.
And I think it's good that he has that, because I think the people who don't have that are on death row. So I think it's great that he does have that outlet. But at the same time, you talk about people challenging Nick Cage in the way that he might play something. You just wouldn't cast Nick Cage then, would you? If
that's it. I think
you didn't want that.
I think now you know that
he's going
to make some sort of choice.
Yeah.
Batshit mental performance.
But it's always good.
But there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Like in Mandy when he goes.
Yeah.
But he goes because of his push to it.
I thought Mandy was a way to perfectly tread that line though, because I think it felt, like you said, it felt warranted.
I need to watch Mandy because I watched the trailer for it, and normally it's not the kind of film that I would go for at all. But I actually watched the trailer and thought,
I think it's very arty.
I really struggle with like
with.
I hate arty films. Like the Neon Demon can get absolutely in my opinion. Like I don't like films like that. Like it's so unbelievably up itself.
Yeah, I think it's maybe different in the way it's arty.
But like
than
Mandy
Neon
didn't
Demon,
seem like that.
I think Knowing was a film that always stays with me as to him making maybe quite a different choice.
Yeah,
in the way that he approached it.
End of the world one, isn't it?
Yeah. I think
Is
he was
that
a
the
lot
one
more
with the
subdued
kid?
in that. Yeah.
Where he knows the numbers and the dates and times.
Which I actually is probably one of my favourite films. Like I loved Knowing.
That's surprising.
Yeah,
that is
absolutely
surprising.
loved,
I didn't know that about
Knowing.
you.
Like we made so I say we. This was prior to me meeting both of you actually, which is crazy to think.
We've always been here.
I made a short film, or like a series, because I didn't really know what short films were when I started, called Fallen, which was about aliens, and I actually put in a plane crash scene just because of Knowing, because I loved it so much. And I mean, it's god awful. Like it was me and After Effects and me learning how to add fire to people. There's literally a scene, I think I'll actually cameo in it, where I just run in pretending I'm on fire and I'm just screaming. and I added the fire in afterwards. And just think, like a 15, 16-year-old kid adding fire into a scene with a computer back in the day. Yeah, it's as glorious as it sounds.
So we should probably put a link to this in the description.
Yeah, or just insert a sound clip here of me just...
I'll find it. it.
Was this pre-voice breaking? Is that the reason that you went really high-pitched then?
No, I was just on fire.
Another, you go an octave.
Yeah, I mean,
at least above.
Think about it, Charlie. Think about the performance.
All right.
Yeah. He obviously did.
Yeah, I mean, jeez. Method.
So,
Yeah, just
not actually set yourself
to the
on fire, though.
Yeah, just slowly lit.
So Godzilla.
Yes, we should probably talk about the series.
The new Godzilla.
Oh God.
King of the monsters. And he is.
It's so good.
Is it as good as the trailer makes out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Better than.
Which I was so happy about, because I'm so tired of seeing trailers for films and then being filled with moments that never make it into the movie. They're obviously just there for, I think I mentioned this before, they're just there to get audiences in. But yeah, they addressed a lot of the backlash I think the Gareth Edwards Godzilla film got, because I really appreciated that approach. I thought the less you saw the better, because it set up the mystery, and when you did reveal Godzilla for the first time, it was such a big thing.
See, I didn't find that with the first one. I actually liked that you saw less of him, and
well,
then there was the big reveal, but then people had a massive issue with it, didn't they?
They hated how little you actually saw, whereas this, I think 10 minutes in, you're like, right, okay, Godzilla's here, we're gonna...
I think that's it.
It's crazy.
I think somebody going in as a huge Godzilla fan would be a bit disappointed going, where's Godzilla?
Yeah.
But as a film fan,
yeah,
that kind of suspense and building it up was probably a little bit more sort of accepted.
If you think about it, it was the introduction, wasn't it? They were re-establishing Godzilla from the 90s version, and obviously setting it apart from the Toho versions that were out there. So I think they set it up in a perfect way.
It's like a prologue, isn't it? That first film is very much the prologue.
Same as obviously Kong Skull Island. They had to establish Kong in that universe as well, which is going to come into play obviously in the next one. But this one was balls to the wall crazy. There's the final kind of act of the original of Gareth Edwards Godzilla. You have that probably about 4 or 5 times in this film.
There's
it's just
a lot of fights,
mental.
Isn't there?
Yeah.
And the other creatures, you see a lot of them. And
the other creatures.
Yeah,
they're
very good.
Just, Mothra forever. Love Mothra.
Oh, Mothra's brilliant.
Fully in love with a butterfly moth thing. Love her.
And Charles I didn't even realise Charles Dance was in it. He rocks up. Yeah, he just turns up and I'm like, oh, it's Tywin Lannister. Didn't
see him in the trailer.
Yeah,
he's kind of the bad guy. He's kind of responsible for these monsters being kind of set loose. Because basically, the way that we join the story now is that we're a lot more obviously aware of Titans being a thing because of the Godzilla and Monarch, the kind of fictional organisation which is behind all of it. Essentially, they're trying to do the Avengers, but of this Monsterverse sort of thing.
Yeah, and Vera Farmiga's
I think is kind of cool.
She works for Monarch.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the thing that let it maybe down a little bit was the fact that they had such great people in there cast. So you had Millie Bobby Brown making her feature film debut, and I mean, she was incredible. Still, I still think she's better as 11 as opposed to her character in this. I think she was a little whiny, but I'll forgive her. It's cool because she's obviously listening. As you said, you have Charles Dance. You've got Sally from Shape of Water. Is it Sally Hawkins?
That sounds about right.
Is it Sally Hawkins?
Right.
I don't feel like it is, but I'm going to go with it.
Shall I do a quick Google?
It probably is. She's
through?
back, and Ken Watanabe's back. So they kind of tether things together from the Gareth Edwards version to this one, but they're just obviously you're there to see the monsters fight.
Yeah, it's Sally Hawkins. I was right.
Sally Hawkins. Yeah. Apologies. So you're just there just to see these monsters fight. So I think they kind of get down to business and just allow you to do that.
I don't know, you said that you felt like you didn't really see a lot from the actors that were in it. But I actually liked...
I just didn't understand the story, because Charles Dance is established as this villain, setting these creatures loose, but then the counter-argument is we need to set these creatures loose because we as the human race are, like, killing the planet and they need to reset the balance.
Oh.
So then you kind of like, so should I be mad at the fact that these creatures are being set loose, or should I be happy at the fact that they're being set loose because ultimately we're going to be okay?
I think the thing is...
But then everyone dies.
I think the issue is... It's almost like the whole Thanos thing.
Yeah.
Like, technically, he's doing it in essence to save the planet, but he's taken the choice away.
Well, he genuinely believes what he's doing is the right thing.
He's taken the choice away from everybody else, though, isn't he? Which is kind of what you're saying the bad guy in this is doing. He's taking the choice away.
But I don't think it's established anywhere near as well as it is in Avengers. Because Charles Dance, I don't think... You don't really see... He is the villain, but he's not the villain. Because you don't really establish... I don't think his motivations are really established.
I don't think...
And obviously he then clashes with Vera Farmiga's character and their family, because then she's enlisted to help him kind of release these titans, but then she does end up helping him, and you're kind of like, well, are you aware that you are going to be killing all these people?
I don't think in Godzilla there's like a really super clear amongst the humans. I don't think there's like a really clear division of like who the bad guys are, who the good guys are. Whereas there is with the monsters, like you see who the bad monster is, who the good monster is.
Yeah, King Ghidorah is, so he's the three-headed bad guy. He is so cool. Like the way that they've brought him back to life, because I mean I've not really watched a lot of the original like Godzilla films, but I've seen some of the newer kind of carnations and then kind of clips and things online. The way that they brought him to life in this is crazy, and the monsters looked incredible, didn't they? I don't think there was a weak link at all. Okay. So you've got in this one the main four: Godzilla, of course, King Ghidorah, Mothra, and then Rodan. So you've kind of got the two like winged beasts fighting each other, Rodan and Mothra, and then you've got Ghidorah against Godzilla, and then they all kind of just clash in this massive battle at the end. It's ultimately all kind of like a dominance kind of thing, so they need to kind of one-up each other and establish who they are.
So does this film then set it up for Godzilla versus Kong at the end?
No.
Right.
I mean, it kind of does, but not in a clear way. I mean, Michael Dougherty's kind of tweeted since, because I think everyone was expecting the post-credit scene to be like this clear link to Godzilla vs Kong.
Yeah. Kong's referenced though, isn't he? When they talk about they have a whole
they do
section in the film
Island.
where like when they say like where the Titans are and which Titans held where and in what part of the world, it does say like Skull Island, and then there are pictures of Kong and stuff, so he is referenced in the film.
Yeah, but
it's just
the
post-credit scene isn't...
There's not a clear reason as to maybe why they're then going to fight one another. And you obviously don't see him. I mean, the great thing is, which I think is good that they didn't really spoil in any of the trailers, is those four Titans aren't the only Titans that you actually see in the film. So there's like a giant spider-looking thing.
There's that one that becomes from it comes out of a hill, or it is the hill that just suddenly gets up and starts walking. It's horrible.
It kind of looks a little bit Gamera-ish, but it's not. Yeah,
I used to look at this makes me sound absolutely mental. I used to look at like the countryside and see like big hills, and as a kid I used to think, what if that just got up and walked? Like, what if something was living as it?
It's a regular childhood feel,
and
picnic. Shit, the hills moved.
But that's literally what happened to this. So that really that was like for me. Didn't like that.
I think that's maybe where they loosely draw the connection, and what Dougherty's kind of tweeted about. He's saying, because they've ultimately started waking up these Titans, it's kind of rippling out across the world, which is then waking up other creatures. And I mean, he said as well, because he's had some hand in writing Kong vs Godzilla. I know that Adam Wingard's the guy who's going to be directing the next film, but he has said that when we saw Kong in Skull Island, he was only a baby. So, because to me, I kind of left Godzilla thinking, how the hell is Kong going to even do anything to Godzilla?
Yeah, because I always thought Kong was big, giant monkey, but at the same time, nowhere near the size of Godzilla.
Yes, but also doesn't have any real special powers.
No, he's just as strong as a giant ape would be.
Doesn't he? Like, atomic breath and then other things. So, I don't personally... I mean, I've never really liked Kong, versus Godzilla. I've always been Team Godzilla.
Okay.
So I'd be happy just to see him just kind of get melted away, but
5 minutes in.
Yeah, just another Godzilla film, please. But yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with it. But I don't think there was a definitive connection, was there?
No.
Drawn between the two. But it's already filmed. I think they've already wrapped. So that's going to be out. I think 2021. I think.
Oh right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time to wait, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure that... But if you think about it, the amount of visual effects work they're going to have to do, that's not to take into account reshoots, all of that stuff as well. So...
It's an interesting question for you. This is going to kind of lead us on to the next part of the discussion. But would you class King Kong as a monster movie?
Yeah, very much so. I suppose it depends what you class as monstrous, though.
Yeah.
Well, I think like the classic kind of definition of a monster is something that's absolutely massive and but this mega. Like,
I mean, we put a call out on social media, which we'll obviously try and mention, as to what people's favourite monster movies were, and I find it quite interesting what people characterise as a monster movie. So, I mean, what would you say is a monster movie?
The thing is, when I think of monsters, I think of things that aren't. See, I wouldn't class Jaws as a monster movie because it's a shark. I wouldn't class King Kong necessarily as a monster movie because it is a giant ape.
Yeah.
I would class Godzilla as a monster movie because it's not
a giant version of
it's not a being that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, I think that's where I draw the line.
I think for me, when I think monster movie, I instantly go to like the Universal pictures. But like, I think monsters, you could kind of say, is any kind of creature that scares you. I suppose it's quite a juvenile way of describing it, but if you think about like when you were a kid, like anything with claws,
is a
you
monster.
Describe as a monster. Anything with big teeth, you describe as a monster. So I think that is kind of where I'd say that like monster movies. But then again, I'm kind of with you. I wouldn't describe Jaws as a monster film because it's just a shark. But King Kong I would, because it's not just a normal ape. It's a big huge ape.
But Jaws is a giant version of something that we already know. I mean,
I suppose so.
You're drawing the line, because I think, would you count Meg as a monster movie?
Meg is very much a monster movie.
But so is it size then that ultimately determines it for you?
I don't know.
Wink, wink, wink.
I've heard it isn't, Liam.
No, clearly.
I don't know, because like if you think about the Universal monsters, like none of them are particularly massive in scale, are they? Like Creature from the Black Lagoon, I would say, is very much a monster movie.
But they're kind of something that we're familiar with, augmented, aren't they? So like Wolfman is a man who turns into a wolf. Dracula, a man again, who has fangs, drinks blood. Invisible Man.
For me, like a monster movie is something that's
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Something that's not human, but not like a ghosty thing, like not paranormal.
Okay.
But something that's tangible, that's there, that's
see the thing
just not human.
I think that's where you could get into creature feature territory. I think monster movies and creature features are maybe a different thing.
Maybe if you're talking creature features versus monster movies, I suppose monsters movies then become like Godzilla, King Kong, like the things that are huge.
That's the thing, isn't it? When I think monster movie, I think giant thing attacking a city.
Yeah.
Which that's where I go.
Yeah.
Or I think something that's so kind of outlandish that it's not an alien, it's not come from another planet necessarily.
Yeah.
It's something that's been created down here by mistake.
Yeah.
Or something that has been here all along.
Yeah. See, I actually went on IMDb pre-recording this, and like they class things as like the top 50 monster movies according to them, were things like Jaws was on the list, Godzilla was on the list, The Fly, Alien was on the list, Predator, Predator was on the list.
Well,
all the like Universal monsters obviously were on the list, but then there were things like Critters, Gremlins was on the list.
Well, yeah,
things like that. So
some of the things that people have kind of come back with, I wouldn't necessarily
like An American Werewolf in London was on the list, but to me that is a horror film.
It's a werewolf movie.
Yeah, it's a werewolf movie. It's a horror film, but that was still on their list.
As a monster. I mean, I personally think, for the sake of this episode, we should maybe just talk about kind of more larger creature kind of feature monster movies, as opposed to like more human based like body horror or classic monsters, that sort of thing, because I think they're different.
I think that's something that's worth exploring another time. I'd love to do an episode on the classic horror characters and how they've kind of evolved. From like the 1930s or even
you just
earlier.
Want to talk about Tom Cruise again, don't you?
I want to talk about Tom Cruise and the Mummy.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
I am
also
going
on
to
Netflix
be washing
again now,
my
isn't
hair.
it? It's so bad.
When we record that episode, I'm going
But Tom Cruise is in it, so it's great.
Tom Cruise, yeah.
Going to be washing my hair.
We all brought with us in our heads a favourite monster movie.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
Yeah. I mean, I've
got a few. I wouldn't say I've got a favourite. Like, I've got a few that stick out.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say I'm like you. Like Liam, you're like very much like Godzilla. But like,
well, I don't know.
I suppose maybe you've
I wouldn't say
that
Godzilla is necessarily my favourite. I think it's one that I go to quite a lot and I really enjoy, whether it's the old ones, the original, or kind of the newer versions. But I mean, I kind of prior to this, I kind of had a thought about what my experience had been with monster movies growing up and what I'd class them as and kind of how they've maybe changed over the years. So, I mean, first off, I don't know if, because we have been talking about Godzilla, did you know that there was a British version of Godzilla? We had our own version back in the 50s, or it might have been in the 60s actually. I think it was early 60s. So there was a film called Gorgo, which was basically Britain's version of Godzilla, and he kind of looks like the dragon off the Welsh flag. He's a little bit odd.
Right.
And ultimately, from what I've gathered from the clips and bits I've seen of it... Yeah, basically. So, like, the scenes where you kind of see Godzilla going through the streets of Japan and, like, destroying the landscape, very much a guy in a suit again, but this time he decides to kind of walk through the Thames, because why not? And obviously Big Ben, Tower Bridge all make an appearance. But the way that they kind of defeat him is, I think, very British in terms of the fact...
Do they throw tea at him?
They don't throw tea, but there's kind of just a bonfire going, and these group of guys just kind of run to the bonfire and just throw bits of wood, which are clearly just matches just being thrown at this guy in a suit.
Oh.
And then the monster doesn't really die, he just kind of just goes back underwater.
Oh, so he's still there?
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So... That's what I think is quite British about it. Whereas, like Japan or America, they'd be kind of like, let's just blow everything up. We're just kind of like, going to throw a bit of fire at you, and then you can just go back.
Just go back.
Just go back. Just stay there.
Be off with you.
Yeah.
Go on.
You're a bit annoying.
You bastard.
Yeah.
Not our Thames, mate. Come on.
So yeah, I mean, that was obviously something that I thought was quite interesting. I don't think we can do this episode without mentioning Ray Harryhausen. I think
it's very much
it has to be someone that we talk about. So obviously King Kong back in 1933 with Fay Ray, I think I've got a book on Ray Harryhausen. When I was a kid, I used to watch all his and I think we classed them as his movies, even though he was only the animator. It's still like you watch the things he was involved in, and you're like, this is a Harryhausen film. Yeah. You're watching it for the monster or the creature.
You don't give a crap who else is in it. You just want to watch it for the monsters.
I think was very clearly inspired by, which, if you think about it, we're getting on for almost 100 years ago. Kong coming out is groundbreaking. Someone taking the idea of making a puppet and animating it on the Empire State Building. It was Willis O'Brien. He grew up obviously getting very inspired by that, and I think the people who grew up watching Ray Harryhausen very clearly had a hand in what we see in like the 80s and stuff with monster movies. So I think that's really special and nice to see that. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with black and white movies, and I loved watching the old like 50s monster movies. And I can remember when I was about 10 or 11 or so, I got a box set of DVDs, which was the Ray Harryhausen collection, and it was all like his old movies, but they'd all been like recolorized.
Oh.
And so it was kind of cool, but at the same time, I think it took away some of the charm. Like it would have been great because you've obviously seen colour pictures of all the things he created, and they were so much more vibrant than obviously what you remember seeing them in black and white and in the films. But yeah, to me, I still don't think you can beat seeing something that was actually there, physically lit, and obviously they projected it either on into the scene or superimposed or whatever. And I mean, I think it's something we're going to get onto when we talk about the more recent kind of films that have come out maybe from the Asylum.
Oh,
but
God.
To me, I still think that those films are incredible. Particularly, I think my favourite out of his that he did was It Came From Beneath the Sea, which actually featured a 6-legged octopus because they couldn't afford 2 of the legs. So if you notice in the film, it's one of the first films where I think you see the Golden Gate Bridge just get kind of torn up.
Right.
Its legs are just kind of still in the water at the bottom. And it's got like 6 legs that it manoeuvres with.
It's a sextopus.
It's a sextopus,
Amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously octopus. An octopus is my favourite creature. So seeing that on kind of going crazy, I think was
that in stop motion is quite
amazing,
an achievement, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because
all those limbs.
You've got to keep, and I think when you think about it now, obviously Ghidorah in in Godzilla has 3 heads, and yeah, it's still a challenge, but it's a different challenge. He had to hand animate and think in his head, what has this leg just done? What's this arm just done? And that to me is insane, and I think that's why obviously we still know who he is now. Yeah. So yeah, big shout out to Harryhausen. I love that man.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm probably getting my times mixed up. Is it the Ray Harryhausen King Kong that Jessica Lange is in, or is that the later one? Is that the 60s one?
There was a Kong in the 70s which had Jessica Lange in. I'm not too sure though, in all honesty, if Harryhausen was involved, because I seem to remember them actually building kind of like a Kong arm.
I seem to remember an actual giant arm.
Yeah, and
because isn't she in it?
I don't really feel like he would have. I don't think he'd have let that happen if he would have been involved. And I think that was kind of after he'd maybe had his kind of heyday.
I can't remember Harryhausen and King Kong.
No, I think he obviously had similar sort of things like obviously Godzilla was a thing, and then you had the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, and there was a lot of kind of similar projects, I think, and I think he did get to animate like dinosaurs and apes and things, so he had his own little moments. But I think the things that he did best were when he did his own original kind of creatures on the screen. But I guess that was the 50s, I think, was the massive boom, literally, wasn't it? Obviously everyone was aware of nuclear energy and bombs, and Godzilla was a thing that kind of took over the world. So I think that's where I maybe got into monster movies.
Okay.
I mean, can you remember what yours were when you started?
I think mine were like the Universal monsters, and I think it was...
No, but I mean, like, if we're talking about like big monsters, like what do you think it would have been? Kong?
I think it would have been Kong, to be honest. Like, if we're talking general monsters, it was, I think me and my friend were at a sleepover and we turned on the TV and I think Dracula was on. Yeah. Like 11:30 at night. So that was like the first monster, I suppose. But like in terms of like mega monsters, I think it would have been like the 70s Kong.
What about you?
Yeah, I think it's the same. I think it's sort of, again, not technically monsters because they're dinosaurs, but Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, which again was on the IMDb list.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, I think technically they are monsters.
You could justify
because
it, couldn't you? Because they've been brought back to life. They're not existing in their own time. They've been brought back to... Because they don't belong in the time that they were then brought back into.
Jurassic Park's another one where, not stop motion, but for actual animatronics and actually having a physical...
Yeah.
T-Rex.
Stan Winston, wasn't
it? Oh my days.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
So good.
Yeah. But I mean, even the CG back then, and I think what stands out from that, obviously with the newer ones, is... because they were so limited, they had to kind of think how they'd do it if there was something kind of there. And I think the lighting and everything looks a lot less polished, but it looks a lot more real.
I rewatched Jurassic Park because they're all on Netflix
still stands
now.
Up, yeah.
And I rewatched it. It's one of my favourite films, and it still looks. It still stands up. I'd argue that it looks better than some of the like creaturey type things. Like The Hobbit was on TV the other day. And I watched The Hobbit, and I think that the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park look so much better than any of the creatures in The Hobbit. I think The Hobbit looks
all
bloody
fake,
awful.
isn't it? There's nothing.
But I think Jurassic Park still looks amazing now.
I mean, one of the things which is interesting about Jurassic Park, so I'm kind of glad we brought it up, is they initially, I think, were planning on doing stop motion. For some of the stuff where there are initial tests, like you can find them online, where they did the T-Rex, and it's very much obviously they had to use techniques like Harryhausen would have used, but then I think the ILM team, they were just kind of playing about, and they were like, we've done this as well on a computer. It was like just a skeleton of a dinosaur, and they were like, we can also animate it this way. And Spielberg saw it and was like, you've changed the game. Like, we need to go with this. And how I am obviously kind of sad, because I think you do lose some of that magic of having like a thing that you can. I think you can just feel that someone's created that and put so much time and energy into it when you see the shot. But obviously we wouldn't have half the stuff we have today if that leap hadn't have been taken. So I think monster movies in actual fact are really responsible for a lot of the stuff generally we just see nowadays,
and I think
which is crazy.
Arguably, like you see that I mean, I know it's not a monster film, and I think we've spoken about it on previous episodes when we talked about CGI, but like the argument of seeing something versus like complete CGI is very much shown in like Lord of the Rings versus The Hobbit. Like a lot of the stuff in Lord of the Rings is completely practical. And then The Hobbit, it's like they just went, oh, well, why bother? We've got CGI now. And it looks crap. Like, I hate the Hobbit films for the amount of CGI and poor CGI as well. Like,
I mean, we were talking...
We
were talking, obviously, about how maybe Kong is the passage everyone has to take to get into monster movies. I think you all recognise that image of seeing him on top of the Empire State Building. But I mean, before this episode, I went back and watched some of the. I mean, I've obviously watched the Peter Jackson version of Kong, but I think, to me, I can't remember it looking that hokey. And in some of the stuff, it looks really bad. Like,
really?
where there's a stampede of the dinosaurs, and they're like running amongst it all, and like they randomly just like kick a dinosaur out of the way. And
does that not look good?
Oh, it just looks awful. But I can remember watching it at the time and being like, oh my god, this is incredible.
Because I saw that at the cinema and loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
I loved the Peter Jackson Kong.
But I can remember it being everywhere for like the visual effects being like the best that they've been at that time, and the hair and the texture on Kong and everything. And I still think he looks incredible. I think it's more just of like the dino sort of things.
But again,
it's because there's nothing there.
I think in the newer one, Kong Skull Island, I think that that looks really good. Like the stuff, the creatures.
I think there was some stylistic
really
choices taken with that though, which made it maybe a little better than if they'd have just gone. I don't know, because I don't think Kong looks all that different from when we saw him in Peter Jackson's to.
No, but I think that's good because you recognise him as a character. You don't want, if people start about.
There's only so much you can change though, isn't there? Really, with an ape like that's Godzilla, you've got a bit more leeway because you can make him a bit more hench or fat, as people said. Or like his fins and his tail, atomic breath, all of that. They're all things you can design.
Yeah.
Which is
so
pretty cool.
If we're kind of moving on a little bit to more sort of present.
Yeah.
I guess, no, not present, a bit more modern, sort of post 2000 sort of time.
Yeah.
What are the monster movies that stand out?
Cloverfield.
Yes.
Okay.
For me, Cloverfield. I hate.
I watched this last night.
I hate found footage films.
Yeah.
I think they're garbage. I think they're just. I mean, fair enough. The Blair Witch Project was, it marketed itself really well. I hate the Paranormal Activity films. I don't like found footage. I think it's really cheap way of doing something, and I think that there are films that did it well. Cloverfield was one of them, one of few that have done it well. I'm not normally a person that enjoys found footage films. I just don't see the pleasure in watching them. But Cloverfield for me genuinely scared me, and I think it still does scare me because it feels very real.
Well,
I don't know how they managed to do it, and I mean, I think it's just testament to like the writing. But you completely believe that it is a found piece of footage from something that happened, and you do. I think the first time I watched it, I had to remind myself that it didn't actually happen.
I think the thing with Cloverfield as well is something that we've touched on before, is that there isn't that huge reliance on seeing the creature.
No, and to be honest, I think
you
that's
actually
the
do
only
see it more
thing.
than I remember, though.
Right.
I think I was a little bit disappointed when you see it close up at the end.
I think you're always going to be though, because that's the Jaws kind of outline, isn't it? It's always better to imagine what's going on as opposed to seeing it, because when you do see it, you're going to be disappointed. But yeah, I mean, I watched Cloverfield last night actually in preparation for this because I was thinking about films that I liked, which were maybe a bit more modern, and I can just remember the time that came out, there was nothing really being that came out like a monster movie. I mean, now, for example, you've obviously got Godzilla, Pacific Rim. It seems a bit more saturated, the market, but Godzilla, the marketing, everything around that, you didn't know it was a monster film, I think, until you really got into it.
Yeah.
But it seemed like the natural next step, because if you think about it, it was only 7 years or so after 9/11 had happened, and the images you see in Cloverfield are pretty much exactly the same as the images you'd have seen on the news.
I think that's why it felt so real. Because you'd seen it. You'd already seen it. You'd seen New York getting absolutely
the dust clouds, everything. It was the only thing that they took terrorism, and they just substituted it for a giant monster, because that's easier for people to watch.
As well, those little things.
They make the funniest noise. If you can please get an audio clip of their noise, they literally can that be the impersonation of the?
I can't remember what they sound like.
So there's the bit when they're in the subway, and can you remember when he flicks on the night vision and then they're on the ceiling? And
I can see the scene. I just can't hear the noise.
They kind of just they kind of scurry about, and then they go. Like, genuinely, they make a noise that I cannot remember, and I watched it last night, and I was absolutely creasing. They fully just go like, it's so good.
See, in my head, I don't know if it's because they come from the same kind of universe as Clover, but I genuinely remember them having more of like a velociraptor sound to them. More of like a
they're fully.
Yeah, because when I think back, I sort of hear scuttly like noises.
Yeah.
But there's a bit like where because I mean that was a really nice blend, I think, of practical and CG there, because if you watch the special features, they like built those creatures, and there was like a guy in like a glove that was like clapping the jaws down.
I love the way you're demonstrating this for the podcast.
It's cool. The people at home know. But like there is like a bit where it's kind of like biting towards the camera, and the noise is just. It's everything. It's so good.
I will find it. Insert clip.
Please.
Here. Oh, wasn't that funny?
I hope you enjoyed that. No, genuinely, so good.
Anything else? Let's have one more from you, Liam, and then we'll move on if you've got another.
Yeah, I mean, I think a film that I personally love, which I probably say is one of my favourite, if not my favourite monster movies, which I think is going to surprise all of you, is Eight-Legged Freaks.
Oh, I hate that film. I wouldn't even watch that film. I watched the trailer and I can't even. You've
not seen it. Seen it. This is going to be another Michael Myers moment. Me and Charlie are going to end up murdering each other on the podcast.
Well, we've got to discuss Kong Skull Island's amazing moment, which you banned me from talking about, but I'm going to bring it up anyway in a minute.
This is true. But I think what I loved about it was the fact that it was very clearly homaging the films of the 50s, like Tarantula and things like that, where you did have the giant spiders. But they obviously took the CG approach, but I just think it's absolutely fantastic. It's pitch perfect in like what it wants to do, and I hated spiders for a long time because of that film. And I think if anything, like, monster movies should make you a little creeped out. I will not
watch it, or Arachnophobia, or Tarantula, or anything spider adjacent, because I hate them.
I feel like that's a clear stance.
Yeah, I cannot.
Next episode, spider films.
Spider films. Yeah,
just me and you, because
not including Spider-Man.
Richard's gone. Charlie's gonna leave.
Yeah, no, I can't deal with spiders. So like when I remember seeing the trailer for that when it came out, and I was like, absolutely.
I think was the trailer that got me, because it used to be on like VHS tapes all the time.
I remember going into Blockbuster. That's a bit of a who, isn't it?
What? Sorry.
I remember going into Blockbusters and seeing it when it came out, and just seeing the guy on the cover like screaming at this giant tarantula running through the desert behind him, and just thinking, no, like that is not a film I'm not gonna watch.
It's such a B movie, but made so modern. But I mean, one thing I know we've run quite a bit, but I think it's cool to touch upon. You obviously visited Japan.
Yeah.
So, did you see anything while you were in Japan?
Godzilla
did it feel
wasn't
like
there,
a big?
He's not.
No, I don't mean was he like, because you probably wouldn't be with us if he was, but like, was it kind of prominent or present in their culture when you were there?
I went to the Godzilla store.
So there's a store.
There's a Godzilla. It's not.
Okay, Liam's booking a one-way ticket to Japan.
That's it.
Yeah,
living there. Yeah.
And there's a Godzilla hotel, and there's a big.
Is it shaped like Godzilla?
No, there's a big Godzilla though. That's like outside.
So next holiday, Japan?
And
then there's... No, they've kind of gone down the more kind of cute culture.
Like Pokemon kind of...
Yeah, like, characters with big eyes and...
I really want to go for, like, the Pikachu parade, because that looks fun.
But no, like, yeah, Godzilla's still
that
very
really
much
surprises me, because obviously kaiju and that whole thing, like, just things coming out of the sea and destroying cities is like...
See, I think, like, that is something that genuinely scares me, because... Anybody who knows me knows I have a horrendous fear of the ocean. I do not trust it. I do not trust the things that live in it. And I think that's one of the things that probably scares me about Godzilla, is the fact that he just lives in the ocean and just...
Oh yeah, a lot of the ocean's unexplored, Charlie. He's there.
Yeah.
No, but it genuinely scares me. Like, it is completely irrational phobia. I do not like the ocean.
But it's a rational phobia. That's totally fine.
I was going to say, I think that a lot of people, it's a recognised thing.
Jesus,
it's got a proper name.
It just drops off.
Oh yeah,
that's awful. That's awful. I think Dave shared something on Facebook which was just like images and it's the name of the phobia of the ocean, which is obviously what I have. But Dave shared this thing, and it's like, if you have this phobia, these pictures will unnerve you, and it's like a child just sitting in a rubber ring. And you can see the skyline, but the picture's been taken as if it's been taken through the ocean and the sky. So you just see, like, the child looking around, looking all happy and above the water. But then you see this horrendousness underneath where the child's legs are just in the ocean, and it's just dark. Like, that scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
I can't...
I think one thing... So when we went to Japan, we went to the arcades and things. Their big thing as well is, like, mechs and things like that. So it's still giant things.
Yeah.
But it was very much sort of, mech warriors and things like that. And
well, I think they hybridised that a little bit as well, didn't they? Because I made a word there. Well, you had Mechagodzilla, then you had, I'm sure there was a Mecha King Kong as well. And I'm sure I have a box set somewhere which is the original Godzilla, the original King Kong, then Mechagodzilla, Mecha King Kong, and then them up against each other. It's just... There's like 8 different movies, just them two.
Moving away a little bit from Japan, but my favourite monster movie is a South Korean one.
Okay.
Called The Host.
Yes. 2008?
Right? 2006.
Yep. Oh, god damn.
Also, that was on the IMDb list. So.
Yes, very good.
It is awesome, and it is a classic monster movie. The scientists dump load of formaldehyde in a river. Monster.
Yeah.
Monster kidnaps girl. And then family tries to get her back. And the thing is with it, I think with a lot of South Korean films, it's got a very kind of weird sense of humour about it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really funny.
He's like constantly like eating noodles or something, isn't he?
Yeah,
in that film, I can remember. Yeah.
It's excellent.
It's so good.
And it's another one where the CG is sort of done in such a way that it's never massively front and centre.
No.
But it's shown in such a way that is very believable.
I think it still stands up today.
It really does.
I always remember the shot of the schoolgirl, well, the girl, when she gets kind of taken backwards by the tail.
Because the dad tries to save her but grabs the wrong girl.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's literally the sense of humour of the film, isn't it?
Yeah.
He runs to save his daughter and then grabs the wrong child, and then she just gets taken.
But she gets taken away. Which, if you ever find a clip on the internet of that seal grabbing that girl, it's exactly the same grab.
Yeah. That little girl just getting sucked into the water by that seal. It's awful.
That is an awesome monster movie to check out.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Bizarrely, the scientist dumping all the formaldehyde into the water, Luke Wilson.
Oh
yes, yeah. There was weird choice. Yeah, no, I can remember that. I think actually, which segues nicely onto some of the things that we had from social media.
Okay.
That was actually one of them. That some people had kind of said when we posted out about what people liked. So I'll just quickly run through what people have said. So I mean, as we kind of said earlier, it's weird what people think, I guess, what a monster movie is, what they categorise it as. So I think we've got a few suggestions here which maybe don't fit the brief of what we've talked about, but a couple of people have said The Descent.
Oh God, I cannot with that film.
See it as a monster movie.
It's a great film.
Original creature,
yeah, it's
terrifying.
Oh God, it scared the absolute.
But I guess it's not a big stompy Magooba. Magooba, made a word.
Yeah.
Someone said Bram Stoker's Dracula. I should probably be saying names actually.
As in the new Dracula-ish. I say new, 1992.
As in the Gary Oldman.
As in the Gary Oldman.
Literally 30 years old, mate.
Literally, yeah. So I mean, yeah. So it was our good friend Jasmine Quinn. She said The Descent on Instagram.
It's a great film.
One of my friends, Leonie, she said Bram Stoker's Dracula. A friend of mine from college, Becky, she said The Host. And said that she was quite surprised by it.
I think I responded to this.
Funny and emotional.
It is funny and emotional.
Yeah, which I
think I put Godzilla, but the 1998 version.
Yeah, I mean.
But I think that was partly due to my
Can't get on board with it.
No, I like it. I think it's got a certain charm, but I think I liked it as a teenager partially because at the time I did have a bit of a thing for Matthew Broderick, and he's very much in it.
It was also the first Godzilla film I ever saw.
It was the first Godzilla film I ever saw.
A lot of Western culture would have seen.
Because I didn't know about Godzilla before
I knew it was like a Japanese thing.
I know what you mean. I still actually have a model of the 98 Godzilla in my office. It's actually a money bank, and when you put money in, he goes. Cool. Yeah, again.
But no, really I don't know. They lure Godzilla somewhere with fish and. Try and explode him, but
fish.
I think it was.
Well, I think actually turns out to be a female, doesn't it?
Yes, and she reproduces asexually. God, it's
it basically turned into Jurassic Park at the end. Didn't it?
Yeah, but I do think the 1998 Godzilla had the charm, but only because of my ridiculous crush on Matthew Broderick. Because I think this was shortly after I watched Ferris Bueller as well.
It very much has its own thing going, which I understand.
So we've got any more from social media?
Nicole said Gremlins. So I mean, we kind of mentioned that earlier. I see it. I think it is a monster movie, but maybe one that we'll talk about in more depth on another episode.
Like a creature movie.
Yeah. Marcus, he also said The Descent on Instagram. Louise gave us a few suggestions here, which I can't believe we've not spoken about any of these, to be honest.
If any of them are the Sharknado
she
films,
said
I'm
Sharknado.
leaving. Louise, we're not friends anymore.
I would argue that Sharknado is a disaster movie that just happens to have sharks.
Just a happy mistake.
I would argue that Sharknado is a piece of shit, and we need to just know.
Sharknado knows what it's doing.
Yeah.
And it is pitch perfect.
No, I can't.
Similar to, I think, 8-Legged Freaks, how that is.
I can't get on board with it. I just think it's awful.
Oh, it's wonderful.
We'll talk about Sharknado in another episode.
I think we should have a Sharknado episode, because...
So you're having an 8-Legged Freaks episode and a Sharknado episode.
We annually watched those, didn't we?
Yeah, and we haven't. I haven't watched the latest one yet.
I don't think I have either.
There we go.
Oh my! Right, okay.
I'm
next
busy.
episode. She also said, and special shout out to you, Louise, because I went to go see this with you. She said Piranha 3D and 3 Double D.
Yes.
Again, 2 films that just know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I hate
Louise.
those films. I can't get on board with the Piranha films. I think they're awful.
I don't think they're classed as monster movies, though, maybe necessarily, but I guess.
Those films I very much see in the vein of the film that you made me watch last night, which was Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus, which, if anybody saw my Instagram story, I did not enjoy.
So I think this is where we should probably kind of wrap it up, talking about the kind of
not so good,
the spate now of.
Yeah, I guess don't say I've watched bad movies for nothing.
Maybe it's sort of.
Yeah, please don't tell me I've watched bad movies for nothing.
Thanks for watching, guys. Not so much, I guess, very recently, but I guess maybe 5 or 6 years ago, 10 years ago, there was a spate of mockbusters.
Yeah.
Ones that kind of copied big budget Hollywood releases, and also a spate of new sort of monster movies.
Yeah.
Which there was. There was Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus. Mega Shark versus Terracuda, I think, was one. Mecha Shark
versus Whale Wolf.
Whale Wolf.
Whale Wolf.
What did you watch last night? Two Tarantula-y.
So I watched Two Lava, Two Lantula.
Now, Two Lava, Two Lantula, I think, is a step above. I think.
Is there a step above absolute?
Well, yeah, there is if you're that far down.
Yeah, I genuinely think, Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus was, apart from the name, was pretty boring.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I'm not going to lie, I did watch it last night and fall asleep. Shortly after, the giant shark launches itself 30,000 foot in the air to attack the plane.
Eats the plane.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I think it was all the science.
Yeah.
All the
oh my god, the science
so much science.
montage.
So much
it's
science.
just people pouring different liquids into jars and then looking confused and pissed off with them. And,
Science.
and the transitions in that film.
Transitions. And one of my favourite things in that film is it when the whale washes up on the beach and it's like had a big bite taken out of it? Right now, which A, doesn't make sense because we've already established that the shark is big enough to bite a plane, so it would eat the whale whole. Yeah. But anyway,
the scale in the film is a bit off,
changes,
isn't it?
but it's the fact that whale is just basically positioned very close to camera.
I was literally going to say this.
Very far away.
It's just a mini model, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, but if you think about it, that's how they would have done it back in the day, though.
Which is why I have a soft spot for them.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
To be fair, there's a lot to be said for forced perspective shots because that's basically what they did with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, with loads of things,
loads of films.
I think,
but I couldn't.
Magic.
I fell asleep because I was just knackered anyway, but B because I just could not. I thought I was going to get epilepsy at one point because of the amount of flashy transitions in that film, the science that just made no sense, and the fact that there's an Irish guy that shows up who's Irish for about 20 seconds, and then his accent just
better than most
disappears.
Yeah.
And then the Japanese guy shows up and he's like, my government don't know I'm here, and then ends up having sex in a...
That was a bit of an impression there, wasn't it? Oh.
No, but he's... Shut up, right? And then it just ends up having sex in a cupboard with the scientist woman whose name I don't even know.
Because
Debbie Gibson, though, isn't it?
It is
Pop
Debbie
star
Gibson.
Of the 80s.
Yeah.
Tiffany as well. I think we're alone now, Tiffany. Big star of Piranha. As in, the rip-off of Piranha.
Yes.
Was it Mega Piranha?
Maybe.
Mega Piranha.
Piranha. There was Monster, which was the rip-off of Cloverfield.
Yeah. I mean, I think that actually kick-started things for the Asylum.
Yeah.
Because then they just did everything, didn't they, after that?
If they know that the films they're making are so terribly shit, then fair enough.
Right.
But
fun fact, they follow superfreakmedia on Twitter. So, I mean,
boy.
If we needed any other validation, the Asylum follow us on Twitter. So thank you, Asylum. We actually do love your films.
No, genuinely
don't hate you.
With the Asylum...
I just want to know if they realise what they're doing is what they're doing.
No, they do. 100%. How could they not? I don't think anyone would look at those visual effects shots when they're exported and go, do you know what, guys, we've won the Oscar this year.
But they're great fun.
Yeah.
I can't though. Just how the do they get budget for these films?
Because we keep buying them from
stop buying them, they're bollocks!
Their new zombie film, zombie TV series by all accounts, is very, very good.
Which one?
It's on Netflix. It's
Black Summer?
That's Asylum.
Is it?
Pretty sure that's the Asylum release.
No.
Bear with, to Google.
Kind of makes sense though in actual fact, because I did think there was an air of...
An air of Asylum.
Bear
with.
But, please say that you're going to talk about Two Lava, Two Lantula.
I'm not going to talk about Two Lava, Two Lantula, which is excellent and hilarious.
It's just the one-liners and the camera just moving in. They knew that they were getting clips for the trailer.
I know.
It just keeps happening. So good.
We sometimes have a bit of a crappy film night where Hayley's sister comes round and her boyfriend. We watch some crap films and eat pizza.
Why not?
And we watched one a few months ago now, which I think may have bordered on too bad.
Oh, really?
Beaster Bunny. Beaster Bunny.
Was this an old one?
No.
I mean, just to clarify, Black Summer is the Asylum.
Yeah,
Before we continue, that's
good job.
Surprising.
And again, they know exactly what they're doing, which is wonderful.
Didn't Stephen King say he loves that series, by the way? I'm sure, big horror kind of names have come in and said, do you know what, this is actually pretty decent.
Oh, Black Summer.
Yeah.
Not Beaster Bunny.
Not Beaster Bunny.
Okay,
right. No, Stephen King is too busy for that.
I don't know. But it's one of those films where it's a giant rabbit that attacks people. And the science in this is even more kind of science than it is in Mega Shark. But if you want a film where the rabbit or the creature very much changes size depending on what situation it's in,
that's
glorious.
Is at any point, is it just an actual rabbit just stepping on a city.
I wish.
Cardboard.
I wish. It's a thing. It's a thing. If we can
Is
get
it a puppet?
Is it just like one of those
CG?
child hand puppets?
Oh no!
They do a bit of stop motion.
Oh really?
But not the way that you want it to be stop motion.
Oh, so it kind of just jerks.
Yeah, I think it's it's a picture that they've sort of moved.
Oh
but
no!
Great.
Is it one of those things that like you used to get as a kid? You know, where you put like split pins into like their arms and legs, and you like hang different outfits.
Sort of looks like it.
Oh no!
But great to watch.
Oh,
great fun.
I kind of want to.
I do
check
not.
The trailer out
I do not want to watch this because I feel like I draw the line.
Yeah.
That like, if we're classing the 1998 Godzilla as like a bad monster film, that's where my line is drawn.
No. I think this is a separate.
But I like
arena.
I like the purposefully hokey ones.
I don't know.
They've actually just released a mockbuster of Godzilla.
What's it called?
I'm sure it's called just like Island of Monsters or something.
Amazing.
Like
I don't know. I just feel
but there's like a giant. I think it's a starfish. It's like a giant starfish.
I mean,
my boy.
It's oh my god! It's a giant starfish.
I take my hat off to them for making these films purposefully bad, but it kind of annoys me as a filmmaker. And also,
no, I love it.
I don't know. Like, I feel like
does it not give you confidence though? Because
I feel like our films are better.
Yes,
like
but
considerably
I think
so.
they're different.
But
it's
like,
completely
I
different.
don't know. I feel like,
but it gives me confidence to know that they get those films released.
If Asylum came calling and said, "Do you want to
I'd
direct
100%.
/ star in an Asylum film?" Yes, it'd be great fun.
Hashtag Asylum at Asylum. Hashtag please hire me. I am available.
Yeah, because it'd be great.
.com.
but I don't know. Like,
/
I feel like I'm just.
HTTPS.
I feel like I'm doing all of your love for the Asylum films.
I
but
would love to work for the Asylum.
I don't know. I just feel like there are so many films I could spend my time watching, and I don't like watching purposefully. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of films out there that I think, oh, I've not watched that film, and it's great, and it's won awards, and it's like critically acclaimed, and it's a lot more fun and good.
I think the Asylum
I'd rather watch that.
Exactly who they're after, their target audience. Because I mean, I see a DVD cover that's got a giant dinosaur attacking, I don't know, a building with a tentacle coming out of the sea next to it. I'm like, okay,
yes,
do you know what I'm in? Because how the hell is that going to happen?
Anything that you go into Asda, you see a DVD cover.
Yeah.
It's called Jurassic Games. It's a rip-off of Jurassic Park and the Hunger Games. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Why not?
Legitimately brilliant.
No.
Who would not want to see that?
This is the thing.
do you know what? Do you think
you become the voice of reason in this episode?
I don't know if it is, and please correct me in comments and social media me if I am wrong. But is it a gender split thing?
No. Hayley loves it. Amy loves it. That's 2 women.
Wind, tumbleweed.
Nailed it. Point proven.
Yeah.
Okay,
gender.
fair enough. Maybe it's just my personal taste, but like, I don't know. I feel like I'd much rather watch something that's legitimately good than something that's on purposefully bad.
But you can't then undermine the fact that obviously I think there's people like me and you, Jono, who also really appreciate the films that get nominated for Oscars, who, by argument's sake, would be the best films that are being made at the moment.
Yeah.
But we also love seeing a giant crocodile in the middle of New York.
That's it. If you shoot for... talking about giant crocodiles, the new one that's coming out soon.
Yes, you showed me the trailer for
looks
it.
awesome.
Alexander Ajar.
Yes.
The one in Florida. Oh my god, cannot think of the name. But this is what happens when you want a podcast.
Shall I Google it?
Giant crocodile / alligator in the sewer looks awesome.
Did you check out Rampage when that came out? Because that was...
I did not.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
Watched it on the plane.
Is it good?
Yes.
Worth seeing? Because I was going to check it out last night and then I was like, maybe.
It's anything with The Rock in, I think is good because I like The Rock. And he's got that sort of...
He kind of pulls... He's like the Arnie of our time, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got that screen presence and that charisma which makes anything that he's in good. Crawl.
Sorry to interrupt the love
Crawl looks
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Awesome.
Yeah, you didn't really like the look of it, did you?
I did not like... I mean, I
think it looks spectacular.
I will go and see it.
I think it looks so good.
I will go and see it, but I very much feel like it's one of those films where it changes size. Like, to me, it changes size
because
in the
there's multiple... alligators. Yeah, that's obviously the point.
I don't get it, and I don't. No, it just doesn't. It doesn't do it for me.
Right, sorry. What don't you get?
I don't think it looks very good.
Right, so the premise is obviously that there's a tornado, which
I
on its own
I'm not thick.
will probably be an alright movie. Add crocodiles to it because the house is flooded, or alligators, I don't know what they are.
If it's in Florida, I'm assuming it'll be alligators.
Yeah, it's going to be alligators, isn't it? I can't.
Yeah, but it looks a bit...
Awesome.
Boring.
Correct.
Ding, 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 ding. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
I don't know. Like, to me, it's just like... I mean, I'm sure if I was in that situation, I wouldn't be loving it, but I don't know.
It's like a slasher with...
I mean, what I will say about it is different.
Yes.
Like, I don't think it's been done before in the way that Alexander Ajar is going to do it. But I don't know.
He also did Piranha, so I've got high hopes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if I'm going to go for like what we are classing on this podcast as like a monster movie, I'm going to go for more of the Godzilla-y. Kong, Skull Island kind of, and I'm going to segue in the gas mask scene with Tom Hiddleston and the slow-mo.
Just talk about it. Charlie likes Tom Hiddleston.
So Charlie's going to talk about this, and then the podcast is going to end.
No, I was told I was only allowed to talk about Kong, Skull Island if I didn't bring up the scene, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
Which is the bit that you hate. There's a wonderful scene of Tom Hiddleston saving everybody by cutting everything up with a samurai sword and putting on a gas mask in slow motion, and it's just a bit of everything.
But she won't like it when 80s pop stars do it with badly CGI sharks.
Which,
all I'm going to say, mic drop.
I mean...
Debbie Gibson.
Has been 80s
Tiffany,
pop star...
Tom Hiddleston.
I'll take Tom Hiddleston, thank you.
I don't think has-been's the word.
So I think we've established that the asylum is excellent.
Yeah, on every level.
Charlie's opinions just don't count for this podcast.
Wow!
Because she's
our friendship is over.
It's okay though.
Literally, next podcast it's just going to be me and you, and then it's just going to be you on your own.
Yeah, guys, it's been real nice. So I'm out. Screw you all.
Amazing. But I think we've touched on a lot of monster movies there, and a lot of...
Or have they touched us?
Inappropriately.
Just show us on the doll. Just show us on the doll.
Show us on the doll. Which is a great segue, Liam, into the podcast for next month, where we're going to be talking about killer dolls. Because we have the release of the new Chucky film, we have the release of the new Annabelle, and also that horror classic Toy Story 4.
Toy Story 4
and
genuinely
Play,
terrifying moments though in the Toy Story series, like Sid, Toy Story 1, Hello.
Yeah.
And they homage The Shining a lot in that film, so yeah, a lot to talk about.
Let's not get you started on Toy Story now.
Do not even get me started.
We are actually going to go and watch Toy Story and Child's Play now.
Double feature right after this podcast.
Cinema.
What are you watching first?
Child's Play, Toy Story.
Wow.
Toy Story first.
Yeah, and then we're finishing on Child's Play. I know what we're doing. I booked the tickets.
Liam booked these seats for us. So.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that's going to be next month. So we'll see you next time. Remember, keep it creepy and see you on the other side.
Woo! We did it this month. We did it.
Yay.
Charlie's wrong.
Bigger boat.
Gonna need, Jaws was on last night. Sorry.
Jaws is also considered a monster movie according to IMDb.
It's just a big shark, isn't it?
So's the Meg.
Big animal.
You're a big animal.
Yeah.
Great. Is it recording?
That's going at the end.